Welcome to my guide for the Tiger 2H. Let's jump right into it. Some players may prefer to play this tank from further away and snipe from the back of the map, but I felt like this is a waste of the potential of this tank and I can't recommend to play it like this. Also, the enemy still might be able to destroy you easily because they just have the better guns. Before we start with the tips, let's have a short look at the pros and cons of this tank. First, let's talk about the turret. Compared to the Tiger 2P, this is the main difference between those two. The turret of the Tiger 2H has a flat front plate and a more effective gun mantlet. Also, the commander's hatch is slightly better armored. But in reality, only a few tanks that you will face care about the 185mm of front armor at your turret, and the majority of enemies can penetrate it or even the top of it. The engine power is not that good for this BR. There are a lot of enemy tanks that are faster than you, and at this BR they also have better guns. Yet the stock shell of the Tiger 2H is good and does some serious after penetration damage. You can research the solid shot, but in my opinion it is not a game changer. The biggest advantage of this tank is the fast reload. With an aced crew you can get up to 7.5 seconds, and this can give you the extra edge you need while fighting an enemy. But you have to consider that the ammunition is stored in the ready racks in the back of the turret, and this turns a hit in the turret into a one-shot. In addition to the fast reload, I use the good forward and reverse acceleration to play this tank. Here are my tips. Tip number 1. Pick your fights. When you have a full down tier match, you can actually brawl at the capture points, but you want to pick your fights. Therefore, you have to know the strength of your opponent. Even at a BR 5.7, there are some tanks that can penetrate your turret from the front. For example, when I encounter a Super Pershing in a close combat situation and I can't destroy him at once, I have to relocate and try another angle or let my teammate take him out. As mentioned before, your turret is no match for tanks that can penetrate armor over 185mm. It also doesn't help to turn it away slightly like you can do with the Tiger 2P. As a rule of thumb, all tanks that have shells with up to 150mm of penetration value are no threat when you encounter them. Tip number 2. Flank. The moment you don't have a full down tier match, you have to flank. By this I mean you want to bring yourself into a position where you can shoot on the side of the enemy. This doesn't mean you have to go to the edge of the map. Just use the support routes I recommend in my guides, or make sure you go to a spot where you don't have to face the enemy frontally. Because there are a lot of enemies that can bounce your shots, while they only have to point and click at your turret front. I know this sounds strange because this heavy tank is slow and big, but I had some awesome matches doing so, and the circumstance that a Tiger 2H is slow even gives you an advantage. By the time you get to a specific spot, the enemy already might be in a fight with your teammates and isn't expecting you. In addition, you may encounter more of the squishy enemy tanks on the support routes. But be careful, at this BR even the squishy tanks have some dangerous shells like APDS or HeatFS. Tip number 3. Protect your tank. The biggest weak spot of the Tiger 2H is the turret, although it is improved compared to the Tiger 2P. Due to the ready racks in the back of the turret, you have a high chance to explode once a shell finds its way into the turret. So how can we use the Tiger 2H and not just sit in the back of the map and snipe? The acceleration and reverse speed of the Tiger 2H is okay, and your front blade actually can deflect some shots when angled. Here are 2 examples. When I know I can't brawl the enemy, I use solid cover to protect my tank all of the time. I use the binoculars to check if the enemy is aiming at me. If he is focused on someone else, I leave the cover, shoot at him and immediately get back into my cover. When I miss the first shot and the enemy still is focused on someone else, I try again, because the fast reload of the Tiger 2H allows me to do so. In the next example, I use my front blade to leave the cover and check in third person view if the enemy is focused on me or on my teammates. When I see that I have a chance to shoot on the enemy without getting shot by him, I leave the cover, shoot and back up again. Again, the fast reload is helpful. Make sure that your tank really is behind solid cover. I got destroyed a lot by high explosive shells that just slightly touched the top of my turret, and even some armor piercing shells find their way through the top of the turret. So in conclusion, really only brawl when you have a full down tier match, and it is more likely that you will encounter more enemies that only have around 150mm of penetration value. And even then stay behind cover and pick your fights wisely. The moment you have an up tier match, take your time and pick the support routes. Stay behind solid cover and check if it's safe to leave the cover to shoot on the side of your enemies. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe and leave a comment if you want to, and check out my Discord server for more information and to connect with other players. Hope to see you in game soon.